People, we're back in Portsmouth, and this week we've got Abby Jones of Connor's Toy Library.
The same way you would go to a library and borrow a book, you can do exactly the same here in the toy store and borrow toys. Children grow at rapid rates. They change their mind so quickly. They decide they like something and the next week they don't. Toys are really expensive, even if you can afford them. So yeah, the benefits are huge. And when there's all different members in it, it's like a shop. People are passing each other. You get to know them. You get to know the staff. So it's more than just coming in for a browse.
You say the funding's going to wrap up in 2026. How will people be affected if it's gone?
It's just so much more than a play group, and it would just be a huge shame if we don't get additional funding or more support.
Abby.
Hello.
Welcome to the What's Going On show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure. And obviously we've met, and I've been here before, and it's lovely. I like it. It's like hidden gem of Portsmouth.
It is, yeah.
And okay, cool. So welcome to the What's Going On show.
Thanks.
The show where we shine the light on people doing things in communities, and you yourself, you're leading the Abbey. You're leading the Connor's Toy Library.
Yeah.
And based here in Portsea.
Yeah.
So we're going to go a bit into that today.
Okay.
But before we get there, a little tradition I've got on this show is, instead of me giving you an introduction, I like to give it straight over to you. So who in a nutshell is Abby Jones?
Oh, didn't expect that question. I'm Abby. I'm a mum of 3. Just a normal person here, and now manager at Connor's Toy Library. Yeah. So, but yeah, just a normal girl, really.
I love that. Yeah, I love asking that question because people always come at it from a different angle, you know. But I do like the fact that you say you're a mum.
Yep.
And now you're here at Connor's, and that's wholesome. Yeah. So we'll go a bit into that today. So, okay, taking us back, have you always been part of Connor's?
Since I've been a mum, yeah. So I had my daughter in 2010, and then obviously you look for things to do, you know, and a couple of my friends already had children anyway, so they were going to a couple of groups, and we went to one, and then we sort of got told we had to leave that one because we became too old, because it was like a young mums sort of group. And then one of us, I don't know who it was, found Connor's, and we used to go to a group in Elm Grove every Monday, just used to go along. And then obviously I had my daughter grow up, and then I had my son 4 years later, so I found another group of Connor's, because I didn't know that Connor's had so many, or what they did outside of that little Monday group. And then I started volunteering when my son was about 2, and then no, he must have been about 18 months, and then at 2 I got a job with Connor's Toy Library, and I was a group support worker, so I was running the groups, and then quickly transitioned into an outreach worker, stayed for 7 years, and then left and then come back again.
Fair enough. So, okay then, so you went there because of your daughter.
Yeah.
Now, what was you doing beforehand, and where did you work beforehand? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in North End, so from Portsmouth, or never left.
Nice.
Yeah, grew up in North End. Didn't have a job at the time of having my daughter. I lived in a hostel, a mother and baby hostel, and then I'd been given a flat by the council, and then was just looking after my daughter. Yeah, so I didn't have a job, wasn't on maternity leave or anything, just being a mum.
Being a mum, love that. What was it like living in a hostel with your daughter?
It was, well, I lived in a hostel prior to being a mum, and then it was like one of those things that you had to sort of go through the motions of being in the hostel, and then you'd get given a permanent or like a temporary accommodation, like more like a flat. And then I found out I was pregnant, so I had to stay in the mother and baby hostel. And I used to have like a little sister flat that you'd go and live in with 3 other girls, and it was just like a normal flat, but it was like 3 bedrooms, and you'd live in there with them. And so I decided to stay there until my daughter was born, and we stayed till she was 6 weeks old, and then I got my flat. But I mean, it wasn't terrible. It could have been a lot worse. I think the hostels that I lived in before that one was worse. but yeah, no, it was all right. It was all right, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I'm intrigued because I've heard stories about hostels, and
Yeah.
I've had friends who've lived in hostels. So, what are some of the things that you saw in some of the hostels that you said that weren't as good?
Well, the first one I ever lived in was it was sort of like a stepping stone. You had to go there and then you went to the other one. And I think probably back at the time there was probably people that had grown up in those environments, and maybe their brothers or sisters or families were in those sorts of environments. They probably adapted a bit better than I did. I'd never been in a situation like a hostel sort of environment, and I was probably, a bit young and naive, and I just was like, oh my god, I need to get out. It wasn't very nice. Didn't want to be there, but thankfully that stepping stone was only very quickly, and then went up to the next one after that, which was a bit better. My brother lived there as well in another bit of the hostel, so that felt a bit more like homely. But yeah.
Interesting. No, I only asked because I had some friends in the past who used to live in hostels, and there was one in Pimlico, I'm just going to say it, and it was near the Channel 4 building at that time, and yeah, we just knew some wrong uns who lived there.
Oh yeah, there was some wrong uns. Yeah,
okay, fair
yeah,
enough,
definitely some wrong uns. But then in the second one, there was we became like a family in there. Like you had your group of friends. So yeah, they were probably like some savoury characters, but they became your friends. And actually, when you sort of break down those barriers that they probably had up, as probably I did, and a lot of people don't have their families and stuff in those situations, so you become like that family for people in there.
So they became your support network. Are you estranged from your family, or?
Not now, I'm not. Okay. So I did grow up in care, so I was in care when I was a kid. Not through when I always say, I don't really say that to people often. So I have this big thing about people feeling sorry for me. The circumstances at the time meant that I was in care. But I always saw my mum, and the reasons, my mum was never, I tried to put it down as the fact that she had a lot going on in her life, so she couldn't parent well at that time. But now me and my mum, so when I was a teenager, about 16, my mum moved to Egypt. And yeah, so she just went off to Egypt, and me and my brother had a flat, but then we obviously lost that flat and we went to the hostel, and probably could have gone elsewhere, but at that time it was an easy option, and we did that. But then my mum came back when my son was born, and I see her all the time, and she's a really good mum, and we're like best friends. So not estranged. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Never have been, but just circumstances meant that I wasn't with them at the time.
That's interesting that you don't, hats off, and thank you for sharing that. But I find it fascinating, if you will, that you don't take the role of, say, a victim or someone who's left behind, but you use it as it was what it was, and we cracked on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And that's how I try to do everything in my life. Is just, it is what it is. I'd like to say that I'd like my friends to describe me as being resilient. I try and raise my children to be resilient, and I think that that's a good skill to have. Yes, bad things happen, but you can't live in it.
Love that. So that's going to bring me on to my next point. Okay. So resilience, how important? You just said it's really important to be resilient, but how do you develop resilience?
I have no idea. I don't know. I think you've got, obviously it's hard, isn't it? Because some people can't be resilient because of the circumstances that are in. I wouldn't know how to give someone tips in order to be resilient. I just think you have to do that. It is what it is. How do we get over it? Or what can we do to make the situation better? Or, I'm not living it.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing there is focusing on solutions rather than just wallowing in the facts.
Yeah. No, that doesn't achieve anything in my, yeah.
Fair. Okay then, so here's one for you. So how do you think, obviously you was growing up, this was happening when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Now, you were someone there with a lot of resilience. Would you say, we're not going to generalise, but would you say in your experience, you say people more resilient back when you were a teenager in comparison to now?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
But also, I probably wasn't resilient when I was 15, 16, 17. I think probably I hit 30 and then maybe I've always had it, but it's not been as strong as I've got older. I think with age you become more resilient, more confident, more,
What? What?
just more yourself, I suppose.
Hell yeah. No, fair enough. Okay, cool. So, go for a hostel, have your daughter,
Yeah,
have your son.
yeah,
Then you said you discovered Connors.
Yeah.
Now, what was it? You said you never knew what was happening when that there was more than just the Monday session.
yeah.
But how was it beginning to work for Connors? How was that for you?
So obviously I volunteered, so I met the staff and stuff that were there, and they were like more than just staff in a group. So then they got me to volunteer. They was like, "How do you feel about volunteering?" Because obviously that was their part of their role, was to get new volunteers in, which they did with me. So I sort of knew little bits more by then. I knew I didn't know about this place. The first time I come to this was when I had my interview for the job. So even before being a volunteer, I'd never seen all of this. So started volunteering, really, really enjoyed it. And then obviously a job opportunity came up, which they don't really do at Connors. They never really did. So I jumped at it and started working it and loved it, because I knew all the girls for so many years of being a mum attending, then being a volunteer. So it just felt like a natural environment.
I get that. I mean, why did you choose Connors then over another playgroup?
Probably because of the staff. They made me feel welcome. The people that you meet there tends to be you go and then you build relationships in the setting, and then they become your friends. You might meet them outside of the group, and it just always was, let's go to Connors on a Monday, and that's what we did.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, okay, here's one for you. So, when you join a playgroup, is it just as important for the parent to get along with the other parents as it is for the children to get along with the kids?
I think it's probably more important.
Okay.
Because obviously if people don't like the people that they're spending their time with in a session, they're not want to go back. So I think it's more important for them to bond with the staff, maybe the volunteers, get introduced to the other families. Then that happens naturally within our sessions. We don't really force. It's not like you don't need to come and make friends, and if you don't want to do that, it's completely fine. And people bring their own friends to group, or they might come on their own and then bring another friend, and that friend might bring somebody else. But I do think it's as important for parents as it is for the children.
Interesting. I mean, would you say originally did you go with a couple of mates?
I think one of my friends said about a group and I went along. Yeah.
I know, yeah, because the reason I asked that is it, do you find it not quite intimidating for brand new people who are in the area to come to a group where most of them are friends already?
Yeah, I would, and I always say that it's really daunting to come to group on their own. And when I was an outreach worker at Connors, I'd always say to my outreach family, it's really it can be really daunting to come to group on your own, not know anyone, especially if they've been to a group before and they've had a bad experience from that group, and not got on with it, and they've decided, I'm never going back to one of those again. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking around and all I'm seeing is toys everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, this is a toy library, but what is a toy library?
So Connors Toy Library is, I don't think the name does it as much justice as it is now, because we're more than that. We're more than a toy library. But here is our toy store, and this is basically like a library of toys that you can borrow from. The same way you would go to a library and borrow a book, you can do exactly the same here in the toy store and borrow toys on a membership, join and become a member, and then borrow all this stuff, yeah. But you can also go to group and borrow from group as well. You can take a toy home from each session. So you don't actually have to be a member here to borrow.
Okay. Interesting. And would you say you get a specific target audience, or would you say you get a specific group of people borrowing the toys, or is it everyone from really high paying people to people who are going hard, or on benefits, for example?
I think we get a mix of those families, from people that are on benefits and are struggling, to actually the families that are earning lots of money and can afford to buy all new toys and stuff. A whole range of different people. There's no set audience, and it can be from anything, because some children will come along and they'll find a toy at group that they like, and then you tell them it's time to go and they're like, the whole world's ended because they've got to give this toy away back to where it's got to go, and actually you can just take it home, bring it back next week. It's not the end. Even if it lives in their car for the whole week and they don't touch it again, save that, you know, argument, hassle. Take the toy with you. So I think it's really good for those people to be able to do that. Other people rely on that toy borrowing and have access to so many much more toys because they don't have that at home.
That makes sense. That does make sense. I mean, a toy library then, for someone who's thinking of using one, what are the benefits of using it? Why do they exist?
To borrow toys, firstly, to like a huge range of toys. Children grow like at rapid rates. They change their mind so quickly. They decide they like something and the next week they don't. Toys are really expensive, even if you can afford them. So yeah, the benefits like are huge. You can borrow them, you can try them. You might try something and then they don't like it. You can bring it back again. You haven't wasted the money. And coming here as well, you get to. It's like when there's all different members in here. It's like a shop. People are passing each other. You get to like know them. You get to know the staff. So it's more than just coming in for a browse. It's nice to come in, have a chat. We get to know them, build up relationships with them as they come in, ask them what they've been up to. You know, where they've been on their holidays. It's just, yeah.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it is.
Okay then, so. Alright, so leading on from that then, but what would you say then? Because having a new toy or a new thing or a new object is, you know, you're the first person to use it. Now, coming to a library and using something that's been pre-loved, do you ever run the risk of, how do you know, or how do you maintain the fact that they're clean? How do you maintain the cleanliness?
So obviously there's a system when toys get booked out and then get brought back again. So the lady who runs the toy store would do all that. She cleans them all, makes sure that they're all working order. Lots of our families will maybe message if something's broken or they're missing a piece, and they'll let us know, and they'll often not offer to replace it. And that's great if they do that. Some people we know that you can't afford that, and that's fine. So it's just, you know, we have boxes of spare stuff. Something might be beyond fixable, so we leave the spare bits and then we replace them with the next bit. So it's just like making sure everything's working in order, got batteries, all the pieces are there.
So what if you've got a kid and they break a toy?
So
and, yeah, what happens?
At group,
Let's say they borrow a toy and then they break it and the parents refuse to replace it.
It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things, yeah. Things happen, don't they? Like kids break toys, and you know, for families that might be borrowing that their children have got additional needs, they might be a bit more rougher with the toys. We know that, and they know that, and we're having a conversation with them, and yeah, just let us know. And 9 times out of 10, we might have a spare bit, or we can order a spare bit. Like I said, lots of families will offer to do that, but it's absolutely fine if they don't.
Yeah, because I find that interesting, because on top of that, I was just thinking, imagine you've got a kid who has not got special needs or extra needs or whatever, and let's just say they're just a normal kid, and each time they get a toy, they're breaking it. If they break it over and over again, I guess you're really supportive on that front, but then what happens? Do you refuse? Have you ever refused?
Never refused anything. Never refused anything. No, I don't know in that situation. I've not had that yet, but I'll let you know when I do. But yeah, no, it's the same with people coming to pay for group, because obviously our groups, there's a charge, £3 per family. If a family come in and said I couldn't afford that, or I don't have the money, it's fine. Like we're quite, you know, we're never going to turn anyone away, or never turn them away for breaking a toy either. So yeah, just have conversations and yeah.
Okay. So on childcare then, obviously I've not had a kid yet. Well, it's not obvious, but I haven't had a kid yet. Now, for those who have had kids, who are thinking to have kids, because I see people planning out pregnancies now. I see people planning out the fact that they can't have kids because they can't afford X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yeah.
But what is the reality of how expensive childcare is?
In terms of just the stuff that you need for a child.
Let's start there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just had a child, my third one, 10 months ago. Children are expensive. But also, I think we live in a world where we're shoved all this stuff down our necks at what we need, and we don't need all that stuff, really. So I think it's just being mindful and, you know, being realistic with what you need. Because there's so much stuff that you don't, and we all buy it, and then we think, I don't need that. I didn't use that. And then someone else will say, I don't buy that because you didn't need it. But yeah.
Okay, so that's on the things. Now, with normal sort of like play groups or childcare groups, usually or typically, would you say they're really expensive?
I think it depends what group you go to.
Okay.
Obviously, some groups are expensive. There's groups that are charged like £7-8 per time. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going every week. More so if you're on benefits or on maternity pay, because that's a lot of money. I personally wouldn't go to one of those groups because I know what I can get at Connors for £3. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued. I mean, why? Obviously, it'll probably be like Venue or. Well, why do they charge so much if they're all offering the same thing?
I think some of them are like tailored groups. Like there might be like a sensory group, so they might have more expenses in like lights and all different toys that they need. And we have those costs as well, but we're obviously a charity, so we're trying to keep the costs down and keep it as low as possible for families. We don't charge extra for siblings because a lot of places it'll be like a set price for one sibling, and you add another one, it'll be an extra few pounds. Okay. We don't do that at Connors. It's just £3 per family. So yeah, 4 kids, all under that family. Yeah.
Fair. No, I was wondering. Yeah, per kid, I thought it would have been, but that's interesting.
No, yeah, £3 per family.
Fair. Okay. So, as someone who's got 3 kids, what's the reality of parenting that people don't teach you about?
Oh God, I don't think people teach you anything about parenting. Or people will tell you things and I think people, when you're pregnant, especially if you're pregnant for the first time, people often say, oh, you're never going to sleep again, or you're going to be so tired. They tell you all these things, but sometimes that isn't the reality of people, and people's babies do sleep, or they do sleep eventually. I think people like to tell you negative things about parenting. It's not all bad because we keep doing it. Done it 3 times.
But why do you think people always focus on the negatives of parenting?
I think it's the same as focusing on anything. If they go on holiday, they'll tell you about the negatives. They won't really rave about the positives. People only complain about... Yeah, people like to complain about things. So they will tell you the worst things. I think maybe they do it with the intention of being like kind, to sort of like gear you up, like this is what you're going to expect, and you're never going to sleep, but actually we don't want to hear those things when people are pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, people wouldn't do it over and over again. Yeah.
Gosh, would you say it's easier now that you've got 3, or would you say it was harder?
I think it's easier now that I've had a child older. Like my daughter I was 20 when I had her. And probably at the time thought I knew everything about the world, knew everything about everything. But now I know that wasn't the case. And obviously when you get a bit older, you're more patient. Been there and done that, so know not to buy all those things that people told me that I needed and didn't actually need. But yeah, I think I'm a better parent as I've got older. And obviously I've got a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and then a baby, so it's all different stages of parenting at once. So it's like adjusting myself to each need of... And 15-year-olds are way harder than babies.
So hard. So I can imagine, especially... Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, parenting get parents... And, it's down to their parenting. I hear that phrase a lot. And parents get bad stick when, say, a kid behaves badly.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you is, was it easier, or is it, I don't know, how am I wording this? So, do you think it's easier to parent in the previous generations than it is now, or vice versa?
Oh, probably easier before. I think because I think like social media and stuff doesn't help, or teenagers, they do things that we don't want them to do, and then now it's splashed all over social media and somebody's asking whose kid is this, and then you've got people tagging people and and blame the parents because they do that, and sometimes it's probably valid and you can do that, other times probably more so than not it's not. And it's hard, isn't it? Same with like 3-year-olds at group. If maybe one's a bit another child, it's easy to blame the parents, and actually it's just one of those things. It's just development. We all go through those different stages of development.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, no, because so what age group then does Connors mainly focus on?
So we're 0 to 5. All our groups are 0 to 5, so we run term time only. So obviously older ones are at school anyway. But anyone with any age child can borrow from the toy store. And we've had people borrow from the toy store that have got children much, much older that maybe have some learning disability or, but are still playing with toys, and they can come and borrow. Older generations can come and borrow puzzles and games and stuff. So the actual toy store is not limited. It can be for anyone.
Obviously, Connors has been going for a while.
Yeah, 52 years.
52 years.
Yeah.
And what was... I remember you saying previously, but it was someone Connor founded the library.
Yeah, so Dennis Connor, he was an old Lord Mayor, and he initially gave a pot of money, and they run a mobile toy library. They used to take toys into St Mary's Hospital for children with Down syndrome, and then it just sort of escalated onto there, where there was like more need for actually people to access toys, and groups that didn't have additional needs. Everybody needed that, so it just went on and on. Yeah, and now we're opening up another group in September, that's especially for 0 to 2s, so focusing on that really early age. So yeah, we'll have 12 groups a week from September. We have an outreach programme, the toy store, and then obviously still do the mobile toy library. So we'll go into hostels, we'll do a play session there. We'll take toys to events. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, because the reason I was asking that, or I was leading on there, but then you kind of just answered that in the thing, and I was like, fair enough, because yeah, it did start for kids with sensory needs, and then it sort of veered, and now it's open to all.
Yep.
Because the need is there. But what I did pick up there, you said you're opening a new group to focus on 0 to 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
And earlier we touched on different stages of child development. How important is the 0 to 2-year-old to be exposed to different toys, different, socialising them and stuff like that to their later development?
So I think there's a lot of focus on the first 1001 days now, and that's from conception to age 2. So there's been lots of studies, and the charity that I went to work for before I came back to Connors, that was a lot of focus there. So I now know how important that is, and how important it is for that early development leads on to so much more. And that's why I wanted to open up that group, as well as for the fact that some people with just small babies, maybe not wanting to go to a group that's got 4-year-olds running around, and they might feel like they want to go somewhere that's a bit more chilled, and the little ones are not going to get jumped on, or maybe, so that's why I've done that.
Interesting. So you say the first 1001 days.
Yeah.
What is the importance of it then? What does that mean?
So the brain development in the first 1001 days is like crucial to the developing child all through the years. So yeah, there's a lot of focus on it. A lot of research has gone into it. It's really interesting. I mean, way more than I could tell you. But yeah, it just that period like builds pathways like incredibly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's say in an unfortunate circumstance, they're not, I wouldn't say taken care of, but let's say they aren't given the right support from 0 to 2, or the first 1001 days, what is most likely to happen to kids and after that time then, if they miss out on those crucial years?
Well, development could be slower, maybe. I think it's more like parenting and focusing on the parents in those first 1001 days. You know, it lessens the chance of postnatal depression if they've got that support early on from pregnancy. You know, brain rewire, like the brain wiring, it's like the neurons in the brain. It's like so way above me, and I can't explain it as well as I've been taught it, but the neurons connect from those first in pregnancy, and they just build. So without the support and without that, well, yeah, development could be slower. And parents as well. It's hard, isn't it? Especially if you're a new parent and you've never been a parent before, and then you might have a good job or good career, and you're thrown into this world of parenting, and it's like no other job you've ever had before, and it's hard without that support. I think it's crucial.
I agree. I do agree. Okay. So we could focus on parenting. We could go down a whole rabbit hole, but we won't. So that's. I mean, I was just intrigued there because, you know, if they do get slower development, could they still have a good foundation if they're paid attention after those first?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not like a neuroscience scientist. Like I think as long as it's those foundations, isn't it? It's the building blocks in those first 1001 days, and we're stepping on those building blocks and building, and that can come later. There's just a lot of research gone into that, and hence why I've come up with that idea of a group that's 0 to 2 years.
Okay, interesting. So what would you say, like, the main age group that comes along?
Anywhere from 0 to 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we've had babies that are 3 weeks old. My own baby just went when he was 3 weeks old.
Nice.
And some people maybe come with their 4-year-old, and then they're pregnant, and then they're coming with a 4-year-old and a brand new. Like some people have brought the babies to groups 3 or 4 days old because they've got an older one. They need to get back out, because obviously the older ones are climbing the walls. They don't need to stay in. Don't want to stay in. It's easier being out than it is in. So they're coming along with their brand new babies, and everybody's welcome at any point through them years.
That makes sense. Would you say that currently, bit off topic, not really, but would you say currently during the 6 weeks holiday, the library's quite busy?
No, because we're closed. Term time
okay,
only.
Term time only.
Yeah.
I see.
It would be. It would be. And Connors is at a stage at the moment where we're only funded till March 26. So past March 26, we don't know if we're going to be here. If we are, I'd like to change that. I'd like to offer something in the holidays. Probably not 12 groups a week, because obviously that'd be a lot with a lot of children. But I'd like to be able to offer something, maybe a couple of groups a week, because if people have only got children that are 0 to 5, they get to some holidays and everything stops for them. There's nothing on, or if there is, it is only like ad hocly, and the places that they can go to are then filled up with school age children, so it's much busier. They don't want to go there. So I think for parents that don't have their older children, they sort of get left for 6 weeks, and I think that's really important. I think that's something that needs to be worked at and changed.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. It's like a... Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Okay, so... Yeah, that's interesting that nothing's really on for those kids who are like 0 to 5 during 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So that must be a lot on the parents.
And a long time as well. And especially if they've got, they've met friends at group who have got older children, because then if you've got older children, you're preoccupied with those, and the little ones just go along with you. So then for those ones that don't have those school age children, they sort of don't see anyone maybe over the 6 weeks, or they haven't been anywhere, or they are going places, but it's shopping or, for a walk, or nothing like a group.
Can parents leave their kids, or do
No.
they have to stay with
Yeah,
them?
have to stay with them. So yeah, it's a play group with the parents. So yeah,
Okay. What's the reason behind that?
just because we're not a nursery.
Yeah.
But to put it bluntly, we don't offer childcare. But I mean, if somebody needs to go to the toilet and their children are playing, we'll watch them. But we won't. They can't disappear for 2 hours.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, could it ever progress into a nursery?
No, I don't think.
No.
No.
Fair.
Yeah, I think that has its place, and then we're separate from that.
That makes sense. No, that makes total sense. Okay, so you say the funding's going to wrap up in 2026. And then if you do get it, that's where you'd like to see it going.
Yeah, I'd like to make changes from that point.
So, how many people rely on it, and how many people will be affected if it's gone?
I think off the top of my head, we supported around about 3,000 individuals. Well, it was like 3,500 individuals last year. So that's just in groups. So that's parents and children. In the toy store, we have 200 members currently. That's growing all the time. So without it, we're going to have a lot of families without groups. And we're not the only group in the city. There are other groups. But all the people that have come to Connors, the people that use Connors, they won't be able to use it anymore. And like I said, it's just so much more than a play group. And it would just be a huge shame if we don't get additional funding or more support.
Yeah, because I remember it was we touched on earlier that it was just the library, and you said it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone into a bit. But why is it just more than the library?
I think it's about connection and the community. People come for a play group and then they leave with so much more than that, I think. I think people, like I've said before, for some people they're just going to play, and that's fine, and we're here for that. That's what we do. But also we are more than that, and we're here for a connection. You can come into group and be not having a very good week, or you've just had a terrible night, and you've got that. You can just go there and I can have a cup of tea, and someone will chat to me, and I'll see so and so, and by the time they've left, they're in a better place than when they came in.
That's nice. Okay, so currently, how many people work here?
So there's 6 of us that work here. Yeah. So it's only ever been like, even when I worked here previously, I think there was only 7 or 8 of us at the time. So it's never been huge. We obviously have volunteers that help run our sessions. So we've currently got about 20 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
Always looking for more. So volunteers come in and help run our sessions. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So on top of obviously parents coming in and accessing the service, without Connors, a lot of people would be left with. People volunteer for all a number of reasons. They might have retired and they just want something to do on a random Tuesday morning. They might come in and make the teas and coffees for us, or for somebody else it might be the only place they go each week. Some people can't work because of childcare, for all a number of reasons. Connors gives them something like that, so they're not just, without them we wouldn't be able to do what we do anyway. So I think that volunteers are really something special.
Wow. Interesting. So alright, so that's Connors Toy Library.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see it carrying on in the future. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I feel like I'm in too deep, but it can't go anywhere. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, and hopefully that people do see this and do realise, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, me too.
Well, cool. Abby, that brings us to a lovely wrap on this part here. And I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been good.
It has been good.
Yeah.
And I'll be following closely.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what happens next.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. And that's a wrap. Cool. All right. So, Abby.
Hello.
Welcome to part 2 of the show. And this part is when we go out into the street and we ask a question.
Right.
So in this case, we went out into streets of Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And we asked a question. I'm not going to tell you what it was.
Okay.
Or what is. And we're going to watch it now. And feel free to stop at any time. Feel free to just press the space bar.
Right.
React. Or we can watch till the end.
Okay.
Whatever you feel. All right. So let's jump in. This might be really loud. Do kids over the age of 5 use more digital or physical toys?
I would probably suggest more digital at this point.
Okay, and which would you say is better for their development?
Physical.
Why?
Because digital is a representation and abstract, and physical is a manifestation and, in a sense, is knowledge-based. That is to say, from experience we derive knowledge. From a representation we derive belief.
Do you think kids above the age of 5 use more digital or physical toys?
I'm not sure. I feel like digital.
Okay, interesting. And what do you think's better for their development?
Obviously physical.
Why?
I feel like I don't think so kids should be exposed to internet for a son. So I feel like physical is just better. I feel like they're protected for longer.
Do you think kids over the age of 5 use more physical or digital toys?
Over the age of 5. It's quite a young age, isn't it?
It is quite a young age.
I don't know, 50-50?
50-50.
I'm going to hedge my bets, look.
I mean, what about yourself?
I would say digital, I reckon now.
I nearly
They
did.
have, yeah, I reckon just about now. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. And which do you think's better for their development then?
Depends, doesn't it? Depends what you're going to do in life. Probably you need both these days. You do need both.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. It's, you know, like digital there's so much that you can learn from it. If you use it in the right way, it can be a really useful thing, especially for like education and development and stuff like that. But it depends how you use it, doesn't it?
Do you think kids over the age of 5 use more digital or physical toys?
Probably going more digital now.
Interesting. What do you think's better for their development then?
Physical, absolutely, 100%.
Why?
I having 3 children myself, having been through that, and also thinking like back to my days when digital was less of a thing. It still existed, but obviously in a lesser format. Yeah, I just feel as if there's more. It improves senses. There's more tactility to it. There's more imagination involved and everything. Where digital is very prescribed, isn't it? It's what you see. Yes, there is sort of like with Minecraft and Roblox and things, where they can build and engineer worlds and various things. That's very good, but obviously it's very singular in the activity. So, yeah, I think there's more. I mean, I still play with Lego, and I'm 49. So yes, that physicality sort of thing appeals to me. Whether that's then steered my brain into where I am, because I'm now in construction.
Do you think kids over the age of 5 use more physical or digital toys?
Oh, I actually work in primary school, so I would say digital nowadays, unfortunately.
What about yourself?
Yeah, digital. My son's not 5 yet, but he loves a tablet, sadly. Amazon tablet.
Interesting. And what do you think's better for their development then?
Physical.
Physical, definitely, yeah. I mean, I try and
Old
encourage
school.
him not to
Old
use...
And why is that though? Why is that?
Why
just
do you
think
encourage
for
him not
their-
to use?
For their development as well, it's better to be active, isn't
Social
it? I don't want them to
interaction,
sit
yeah.
in front of a screen all day long. And yeah, it's just better
Yeah.
for them. Like, we didn't have that when we was growing up.
Yeah.
So.
And me being a lot older, I think social
Technology, yeah, it's
interaction
much
is so
better.
important for development,
And also
social,
fresh air,
emotional.
getting out, yeah.
Yeah.
Making new friends.
Do you think kids over the age of 5 use more physical or digital toys?
Digital.
Why? Or not right, but what do you think's better for their development? Physical?
Physical.
But why though?
Because they're using things and it gets their motor skills going. And they're just on an iPad, it's just like that, they're just using their phones. If it's physical skills, they're out there doing things. It's problem solving, it'll do them better in life.
Fair enough. What about yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that was the question. What are your thoughts?
I think the answer is if you ask me that, I would say digital. Having 3 kids myself, screen time is the bane of my life, and I'm managing it, and it's probably one of the main things that I think about as being a parent is screen time. I think that's probably my biggest parenting worry is how much screen time my children have, my teenager especially. But yeah, I would say that's just the world we live in, isn't it? And it's a shame.
Why is it a shame though?
I think it's a shame if it's. I mean, you could have both, but some children don't play physically at all, and it is just on an iPad or on a screen, and kids can play games and stuff that's good for their learning and stuff on there. So there is that, but I just think I worry about screen time.
Why do you worry about screen time?
Because I just worry about how much time they're looking at an iPad or a screen or even the telly. Like, I gave my daughter a phone at 10. It was probably my biggest parenting fail, I would say. Should never have done it.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, they say, a lot of people in there said, back in my day vibe, we used to have a lot of physical toys. But kids haven't changed, or have they?
No, I don't think the kids have changed. I think it's the way we parent. And it's easy, isn't it, to give them some, it's easier to give, if you're in a restaurant or you're, watch this for a minute. You can get their favourite TV shows and stuff up on your phone, and it's just like watching the telly, isn't it? But in a smaller, that can be on the go with you. I don't know what's changed.
Interesting. Yeah, because having digital toys. I mean, what would you say then? I focused the question there on people over the age of 5, but would you say kids under the age of 5 using a digital toy like a tablet or something is more beneficial or less beneficial than using a physical toy for their development?
Less.
Why?
Because they're not getting that, like being imaginative. They're not learning through play, and that's so vital. And it is just watching a screen. There's nothing more than that, is there? You're just watching the screen. You're not using your imagination and playing with the toys differently. Social skills, playing with other people. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think physical toys and physical play is better.
Yeah. No, I hear it. I mean, not one person said there that... I mean, they said some of them, the use of digital toys is good for...
It's got its place, I think.
It's got its place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The same with, because some toys are digital, I suppose it's the same, like Nintendos and stuff, aren't they? They're like... And we've got Nintendos in the toy store that we can loan out. So we have that option. We've obviously got a lot more physical toys. And like I said, it has got its place, but... I mean, speaking as a parent, I'd say I hate screen time.
And I think a lot of parents do. I think a lot of people hate it as well. And I've been a youth worker in the past, and I remember we went bowling. I can't even mention names because I don't remember their names, but I could say the scenario. So we went bowling, and there was a few kids, bless them, and they were more interested in a game on their phone than actual bowling.
Yeah.
And I don't know, are digital toys taking away the excitement from real life for kids? Yeah.
And, all this, Snapchat, I don't have Snapchat, so I don't really know how it works. But I just think it's just, I think even with adults, you go onto social media and you have a different sense of reality because people's lives are completely different, and people only show you what they want to show you on social media, that their lives are fantastic and they're having a wonderful time, and it's so easy to get yourself wrapped up in that and think, oh, why haven't I got that, or I wish I had that, and not remembering that you have all those good things and wonderful things. Same with toys, they forget about all that. It's
terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm my daughter's 15, so I'm always put your phone away. You don't need to be on that phone while you're in the car, or you don't need to be on that phone while you're sat at a restaurant. You're just scrolling. So I have screen time passcodes and stuff, so she can't access it at a certain time. She thinks I'm the worst mother in the world, but I will be that if that's what it takes.
love that. I mean, you said the importance of learning through play. What does that mean?
I just think they can learn so much through playing toys, you know, making up games and stories, and you know, playing with friends, and they, you know, you be this person and I'll be that person, and they build stories and build just their imagination, and you know, anything, like they learn a huge number of skills just by playing toys. Problem solving, fine motor skills, all of that.
Here's one for you. I want to hear your thoughts. So, being a mum, with, I don't know, with like the introduction of like the internet, tablets, digital toys, not so much digital toys, but internet and tablets and whatever, you get this sense of instant gratification, you get an answer instantly.
Yeah.
And you lose that ability to trial and error, finding out through learning. What are your thoughts on that?
I think of it, if you think like when you're building something, if you're building like a piece of furniture, it's so easy to just like Google something or find a video on YouTube and I'll figure that out. I've done it numerous times myself, just find that out. Where actually if I just spent a little bit more time, I'd probably solve the answer myself. We all would. I think it's just like you said, it's just instant. You don't need to search for it. You don't need to waste time, or you got it. It's there. Everything's at your fingertips on a phone or a device.
See, I get that, but I can speak for this as well. Like growing up without phones, without internet, fast internet, you know, we had dial-up.
Like,
so growing up with that, you know, you'd still have to, you know, learn. You still have to do a bit of research to find out, because it's probably quicker than going on the internet. But now the kids and stuff who are growing up with that, if they're just getting instant answers instantly, what do you see happening in, let's say, 10, 20 years when internet's only becoming stronger, faster? What do you see happening?
It would just get worse, won't it? It would just be like that it's quicker, because it'll have to be. There's going to be no thinking for yourself. Just Google an answer, or, you know, find a video on YouTube, or ChatGPT it.
Yeah, ChatGPT it. And I don't know if I can say this for everyone, but for me personally, I don't fear change. I accept it, but I'm intrigued to see how it will be in, let's say, 20, 30 years for young kids growing up, of kids who have grown up with digital stuff.
I think there'll be a change, though. I think that we'll probably see a difference in the children that have that stuff now. When they become parents, we'll know the effects of it. And I think that will change back round again.
Interesting. Yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah.
Only time will tell. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. That'll be very interesting. Well, okay. So any other thoughts on the video?
No, it's nice to hear people's views and stuff. And it's nice to know that people are still wanting physical toys and there's still a place for them.
Yeah, honestly. Big up the physical toys.
Absolutely.
Learning through play.
That's it.
And yeah, being hands-on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, okay, well, cool. Happy that brings us to a lovely close on that part.
Thank you.
And again, I look forward to seeing what happens next. And yeah, we'll be following closely.
Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, that brings us to a lovely close. Thank you. All right, that's a wrap.